Hello! Today we're going to be talking about some Nunsploitation, so I finally get to use this in a video. Today we're going to be discussing Satanico Pandemonium. Satanico Pandemonium is also known as La Sexorcista. It was released in 1975. This is a Mexican Nunsploitation movie directed by Gilberto Martinez Solares. It is starring Enrique Roca as Luzbel, aka Lucifer, Cecilia Pezet as Sister Maria, Delia Magaña as Mother Superior, Veronica Conque as Sister Caridad, and Daniel Albertos as Marcelo. I watched this in Spanish with subtitles. I don't think there's an English dub or anything like that. And a fun little fact about this movie is it was inspired by Ken Russell's The Devils, which I have yet to see. I know I need to see it. So I'm going to be giving you my thoughts on this movie as well as a little bit of the story. So I would say like mid-level spoilers, but I'm skipping over a lot of the good stuff, a lot of the details, and I am not going to be telling you the ending because there's a lot to it and I'm not going to spoil it for you. Here's your synopsis, written by me. Maria is a devout nun living her life in a convent. Suddenly, her life is infiltrated by the influence of the devil and she quickly loses her grip. She is soon unable to rid herself of her nightmarish visions and strange compulsions. Nunsploitation. I am fairly new to this genre, although it's really appealing to me. Now, when I saw the cover of this movie, I thought it was just going to be sleazy trash. You know what I mean? Or I thought it would be something like Alucarda, where it's just like pure diabolical chaos. But instead, this film is a little classier. I knew, like, this being Nunsploitation, that this was going to be nuns doing things nuns shouldn't do. But I had no idea it was going to be so powerful and emotional. The film feels extremely intentional and communicative. And like I said, it's got a real heavy emotional aspect to it. That's my cat rubbing on the tripod like he always does. There's such an emotional component to it, to where it's not just pure sleaze. Like, there's a lot more going on here. It's not chaotic like Alucarda either. Instead, it is much more restrained. And I guess you could call this more of like a psychological film. So the two main characters in this movie are, of course, Luzbel, aka Lucifer, aka the devil, Satan. He is a character in this movie as a physical person. And then Sister Maria is really the main character here. She is our main nun. She's the girl here on the cover. But beyond that, we have obviously the other characters that I mentioned. We have several nuns, we have a couple of people that live nearby, but this is really about Sister Maria and her interactions with the devil. The film is focused on her and her journey. We're really inside of her head, and really everybody else doesn't matter that much because this is all about Maria. This character, I love her. I love how she is cast. She looks just like Winona Ryder to me. Anybody else? Or maybe it's someone else she looks like. But she towers over every... Vinny, you gotta stop. But she towers over everybody. She's extremely tall. Yet she still looks so dainty. She has these like doe eyes and long eyelashes. Just beautiful. Beautiful, and has such a presence on screen. And she's also extremely talented. She's doing a lot with her facial expressions, not always what she's saying or what she's doing, but how she's doing it. Just a very compelling performance. So when we kicked off the movie, I had no idea that she was going to be the evil one, right? But when the switch did flip, man, she did an awesome job. She's indisputably like the treasure of this movie, and she makes this movie. And then Lucifer's character, I think he's fine. He looks sinister enough. He's not too over the top, but he's very just even keel. So the setting of this movie is just a gorgeous remote convent. It looks like a beautiful castle, and it's on this immaculate Mexican landscape. It's rocky, there's cliffs, and there's plenty of greenery. It's just so pristine. And this is a good time to say that the film is really beautifully artistically shot. They really put a lot into how it looks. So visually, I had a great time. Even from the very beginning, there's a scene where Maria is like walking through the forest and picking flowers, and she's wearing this like, her outfit is blue. I forgot to look up like why some nuns are blue, but these are blue nuns. And she's just picking flowers and the birds are singing and she's just all pretty. And I'm like, this is off to a great start. She's like alongside a river. She's petting baby lambs. Like, it is so cute. If you love cottagecore and Satan, this is a movie for you. This is a remote and fairly simple setting, which strips away any sort of distractions or anything like that. And we really just focus in on what's happening with Maria. Now let's dive into the story. Like I mentioned, Maria is walking around picking flowers one fine day, interacting with the little local shepherd boy Marcelo, taking care of animals, and she happens upon this naked man, and that is the devil. He appears to her, he offers her an apple, and she is just instantly terrified, runs away. Well, he ends up randomly appearing in her life from that point forward. He'll just like pop in and pop out. We do get a lot of like daily life in the convent, which is nice. Even though we don't get much from the other nuns and like get to see a lot of interaction, we get to watch them like doing their dailies, walking down the hall, saying their prayers, singing, eating dinner, that sort of thing. But I do like that a lot in movies where you get kind of oriented with daily life, with what's going on with the characters, you know? We do get to see a couple of the nuns are being treated like servants for some reason. I'm not sure the dynamic there, but they are being berated by Mother Superior and just they're not having a good time. Somehow they're the ones cooking and like serving the meals and stuff. They eat dinner one night and Maria sees Satan in the window. She's just kind of freaking out. She seems to be seeing things that nobody else can see. And when she freaks out, then she gets like super embarrassed, you know, but these things keep happening. Similar to a Roland movie, I noticed there would be long stretches without any dialogue. And you know, it's funny because with Roland as well, the cat's messing with my tripod. This is the other cat. Similar with Roland, I don't even realize nobody's talked in a while until someone talks again. Anyway, so Maria goes down to this like dirty basement after dinner, and that's where the two like servant nuns have to sleep on the floor. And Maria is talking to them, and one of them's just crying like, I want to die, I want to die. And you can kind of see her you can see Maria give her encouragement, which I guess just speaks to, she's a little bit of a leader in the convent and very nurturing. Anyway, Maria retires to her room. It's nighttime after dinner, and she's praying because, you know, it's what you do. And all of a sudden, like a vision of that naked man pops into her head, and she freaks out again. And what does she do? She pulls out her, I don't know what to call this, her self-flagellation kit. I guess because, I don't know, man. It speaks to like this heavy guilt and shame that is on a lot of religious people, I guess. So in a way, she's like blaming herself that this has popped into her head. So she has this like, it's like a belt of thorns. So she takes all her clothes off. She's naked a lot, by the way. She like halfway undresses actually and puts this like belt of thorns around her waist and like pulls it. And then she starts whipping herself. So again, yeah, it's giving heavy guilt and self-blame and this feeling that the only way to redeem oneself is through hurting oneself, which is just dark. And no, this is not a sleazy moment. It's very emotional and deep. It does not feel cheap. So Maria is later summoned to go take care of a sick cow. So, you know, she's comforting the sad nuns in the basement, and she also is a caretaker of animals. So that just shows another side of her just being like an above and beyond kind of nun, a multi-talented nun. And when she comes back to the room, there is a nun in her room waiting for her. And the nun is like, I have a confession. And my confession is that I love you. No, like I love you. And the other nun starts kissing Maria. It has, with the music, it has this very like perverted, corrupt sort of vibe. You know, like this is something horrible that's happening. Anyway, so she and the nun are kind of kissing or whatever. And then the nun turns into Satan. And then they keep on doing stuff. And this is when he finally introduces himself. He says his name is Luzbel, aka Lucifer. And she does kind of seem to sort of enjoy the time with him. Now, like I mentioned before, as things go on, Maria continues to see strange visions, seeing things change. That's something that happens a lot. Like a painting of a saint will change into a painting of a demon, or the nun that's kissing her will turn into Satan. So there's a lot of like, I guess, shape shifting that's happening, but also she'll just see something 1 second and the next second it's gone. And it's interesting for us, the audience, not knowing if these things are really there or if she's imagining them or if it's somehow Satan is like planting these in her vision. Now, in addition to what she is seeing, as we go on, Maria's behavior starts to change and it becomes more and more depraved. She murders some people, okay? She injures some people, murders some people, seduces some people. Many acts of evil that would put the girls from Don't Deliver Us from Evil to shame. I'm not going to get into every little detail though, because you'll just have to experience that for yourself. But I am going to walk us up to a major turning point in the film, and that is when Maria visits Marcello's house. Marcello is the teenage shepherd boy that lives nearby. Let's just say she goes over there with bad intentions and ends up doing something way worse. After an uncomfortable and visceral experience inside that house, let's just say that when Maria leaves, it's burning to the ground. And she has this sort of calm acceptance on her face. Sort of like a rattled acceptance. Well, of course, she's a nun, so she can get away with this, right? Until she realizes she has left a piece of crucial evidence at the scene. And with that, we will close the storybook. And let's talk a little bit about the tone and the vibe of the movie. Like I said, I was really surprised how much this reminded me of Jean Roland. It had a wandering and slow yet purposeful pace, and because it's so visually intriguing, you can sort of forgive the slowness because you're in it, you know? The film was in a lot of ways very subtle. Not like Alucarda, for example. It lingered a lot, it never rushed. And if you allow yourself to be immersed in the film, like you can't be scrolling on your phone, okay? Or talking to your friends, you have to be immersed in the film, and I think in that way, it can be a very consuming movie. It's a soft, slow, dreamy, surreal trip. And yeah, again, I assumed this would be sleazy trash, but it's actually like very poetic, thoughtful, and beautiful. Somehow, there's something like gentle and compassionate about this movie. Yes, the exploitation elements are there, but there's also so much more to it. There's this like serenity and this peace and this depth and this compassion. So something that I really liked about this movie that I think makes it scarier is that Maria did nothing to call upon the devil. She didn't do anything. She didn't incite this. He just came randomly and chose her. As far as we know anyway. And I thought the randomness of that was scary and fun. Here. Oh, there. Does that look better? The music in this movie is so good. It's like ambient noise sometimes, but it's very anxiety inducing. Space-like, it's like kind of reverberating a lot, and it's just all around foreboding. I think the music played a huge part in the atmosphere of this movie. The sex and the violence are good. Like, some of the murders are great. And there is a lot of like nudity time on screen. So it definitely like checks those boxes, I guess, if that's what you're looking for. There's like obviously like a little bit of lesbian nuns, but not a lot. And yeah, with Maria, even when she's like killing people, it has this gentleness to it. And somehow you don't blame her and you're rooting for her. I'm not really sure how like connected to Satan she was, because there seemed to be something intuitive here where she knew he was there before she even looked over. And I like just the subtle little things like that were so good. There are a few themes that popped out as I watched this movie. Loneliness. Like, I was getting loneliness from Maria, like loneliness combined with abstention. This life of abstention that they have pledged to. It just seemed like she had this just whole carved out of her. And looking back on the like sex scene with the devil, the camera is very much just focused on her. It's kind of like static camera, and it's just focused on her and like her experience. And I don't know, it just seemed like dang, she needed that. The self-harm as a form of penance, like I already mentioned, I think was one of the standout parts of the movie, and had you like, it left you with an icky feeling, you know? Innocence coupled with evil. Now, if you've been here before, you may have seen my Don't Deliver Us from Evil review, which is the same kind of thing that I love. Innocence with evil together, like whether it's nuns, schoolgirls, whatever, I love it. I love the contrast. This theme of animalistic, instinctual compulsion. Maria seems kind of possessed. So it's hard to know, like, is the things she doing, is it coming from her, or is Satan influencing her? It seems like she's aware of what she's doing, but has conflicting feelings about it. But it's almost like Satan has finally like allowed her to let loose on her compulsions. So it also like speaks to this idea of how dangerous and real our fantasies can be. And something else that stood out to me about this movie is like the lack of privacy. Maria could not, like, there was so much she could not hide. And also, like, every time she went into her room for some freaking privacy, someone was knocking on her door. It was actually driving me crazy. The lack of privacy that comes with being a nun in her convent was kind of alarming. And it added this, like, vulnerability mood to the movie. As far as criticisms, I don't have much criticisms of the movie. It was just fun for me going into this not really knowing what to expect and just enjoying the ride. I felt like some of the editing was like a little choppy, like a little sloppy. There was like a few continuity things. And I think we didn't get enough about Maria's history. It seems like she has a medical background. They hinted at the fact that she had like tried for Mother Superior in the past. Not really sure what happened with that. We don't get to see much of her relationships with and interactions with, or the personalities of the other nuns either. So they were kind of just like there. But overall, that's pretty much it. Like, I genuinely love this movie. I think it's so much fun and so beautiful. Like, it's not just nuns. It's like beautiful. Kind of like Story of a Cloistered Nun, which was another classy nunsploitation. Maybe nunsploitation is not as trashy as I think it is. Now, if I were to put this movie in a 3-pack with other films that I find to be complimentary, I would say Roland's Living Dead Girl. Also kind of a story of this woman's tragic compulsions. And then I would also put it with Don't Deliver Us from Evil, because there's a lot in common here. And yeah, that's my final answer. Let me know if you've seen this movie. Let me know if you like it. Let me know what other nun movies I need to see. I wanted to thank Brian for sending me this DVD and making this possible. I also have to thank Nicholas Vincent for inspiring me to put on this habit. And I have to thank my members for voting in a poll that I did. Which Nunsploitation movie should I talk about? And they voted this one. Yay! And with that, I would like to thank my members as we bring this to a close. Jordan C., Chompy, David M., Sabrina A., Paul H., Brittany P., Ashley M., Danielle, Villain, The Gordonite, John B., Chris, Lady K, Maitland, and Laserbeak. Thank you guys so much. I plan to wear this for a future nun, maybe even religious related reviews. So don't worry, the habit will come back. All right, I'll make a habit out of it. And until next time, ciao. Be blessed, my child.